Welcome to the first episode of Tech Talk. I'm Aliciana Lifsey, the president of NHS. I am a senior, and my magnet is Academy of Health Professions.
My name is Nia Jolivet, and I am a senior in the Academy of Health Professions.
Hi, my name is Janiah Fountaine. I'm a senior in the Environmental Technology magnet, the best environmental magnet.
All right. Hi, I'm Imani Groce. I'm also a senior, and I'm in the sports science magnet.
I guess we should tell you a little bit about who we are and what this platform is. So this podcast is a project from Western Tech's National Honor Society. We plan to bring to light the values of the students while incorporating the values of the school. So this is basically just like a platform where you guys can give us things to talk about academic-wise, and we will address them, give advice, talk about different things going on around the school, and have fun. To kickstart this episode, it's an unpopular opinion.
We asked Western Tech students to fill out a Google form telling us about their unpopular opinions, and we're here to talk about them today.
Let's kickstart with the first question.
All right, so someone submitted, no matter how much of an academic school this is, we need to spice it up and have some fun. And what do you guys think about that?
I 100% agree, and I think having fun doesn't always have to take away from your academic ability, and that's what a lot of people are blurring the lines with it, because you can still reach your academic potential and have a good time in school. But it's I think a lot of kids at Western Tech feel like they can't do that, and that's kind of where we need to close the gap and build a bridge so that they don't feel like they have to choose one or the other, I'm either doing good in all my classes or I'm having fun. No, you can have both. I think that's reasonable, right?
Yeah. And also, I think clubs really do impact your enjoyment of high school, because if you choose not to get involved in school, obviously that's your prerogative, but you can have a lot of fun and make a lot of good memories by joining different clubs and, playing sports, just making yourself an active member of the school community. That can also make it feel like you're less alone, in the struggles with school, because you have other stuff going on, other people to talk to about it. So, what clubs are you guys in?
Outside of National Honor Society, do honor societies count as clubs?
I think so.
Yeah, they can.
I'm in French honors, and then I don't know if SGA counts, but that's a kind of a club, extracurricular.
Vice president.
Yes. I think that's it. What about you?
I did tennis sophomore year
Oh,
and freshman year, and I'm gonna do it again.
Exactly.
About that.
I'm gonna do it again this year, but my main club stuff is National Honor Society. I did French Honor Society for 1 year, and that was it in freshman year. But I also think Western does a good job with having a lot of clubs that are open to people. I just think that some students are scared to get involved because they don't have friends that are in it, or they don't really know how to get involved. So I think, encouraging yourself to step out of your box. We have mindfulness club, and I was speaking, we need to go to a meeting one day. Just going to stuff like that, or engaging with your school, I think can help to unblur the lines of having fun or validating or caring so much about academics. You can do both. You just have to step out of the box and see what's out there for you.
Absolutely.
Wait, so what about you, Janiah? Because I know you're in a lot of environmental type of clubs, right?
I was in Green Club my junior year. I'm not anymore because of my job, and I'm also in NHS and NCHS. So yeah, but I want to say that when you go to a club, or say you're nervous because you don't have friends in that club, it's really important to get into the mindset that you need to be uncomfortable, because before you can get comfortable, you got to be uncomfortable. That's the only way. And so I know in a little bit, we're doing a concert. By the time this is out, the concert would have already been gone. But it's important. If you know you have an opportunity to go meet people or have some fun, then you should go. And then a lot of clubs have their open invite.
Yeah.
So the Muslim Student Association or ASA meetings, they're all open invite, and they definitely when they have events a party or something like that, everyone can go. So, and it's important to put yourself out there so you can get involved.
There's something like that too. I was just telling my mentee in the peer mentor mixer yesterday that on like tech tutoring Tuesdays that we just started doing, if you don't have like a teacher to go to that you need to be tutored by, clubs also meet during that time too. So it's like a free opportunity. You don't have to worry about missing class or anything to go. Just like go learn about a club you were interested in joining or see what a club is about. So people, like, you guys have a lot of opportunities to get involved. It's just about, you know, taking that step out and, like Janiah said, being uncomfortable before you can get comfortable.
Yeah. I think we also do need to acknowledge that due to Western being a magnet school, it is difficult, you know, transportation-wise, but I think that makes it all the more important to, like, you know, find people, you know, who are also interested by going out and, you know, putting yourself out there and doing these things. So maybe you could carpool.
You know? We do a lot of carpooling.
We do a lot of carpooling.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Especially with
beautiful.
this gas.
Oh, yeah. So,
like, even with NHS, we have a lot of people who aren't even in NHS. They come to we did the Jingle Bell Run, and we had people who weren't even in NHS participate. So, like, that just goes to show, like, they just want you to be involved. You don't have to necessarily belong to something or, like, 100% commit. Like, if you see something that you want to be a part of, like, go ahead and do it. Like, they're not going to tell you no.
And also, if you know you're good at something, I think you should really cultivate that. Like, if you know there's a club, say you're really good at art, you know, join art club. Say you're really good. If you're in NHS and you know you're a really good communicator, or in THS and you know you have a great portfolio, or you're very good at making resumes and everything, you know, hone in on that skill, use that, and you can also have fun doing it.
So our next unpopular opinion is complaining as a herd about an upcoming test just puts you in the mindset to do much worse.
Preach.
Yes.
Lord.
I'm so passionate about this.
Okay, Nia, you
So many people, because Western Tech, a lot of people are disingenuous about the amount that they study or they prepare or they feel ready for a test. And guys, like, it's okay if you studied for it. Like, not everybody, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, you know, if you...
Nia, you can talk.
But, like...
Nia can talk.
I can talk about this all... Oh my God, I literally failed that. No, you didn't. You got, like... And
you got an 85.
You got an 85. And it's okay. Like... And also, like, just pre-stressing yourself out about something that you don't even know what's going to happen. Like, 2 weeks earlier, you're stressing about a test that the teacher hasn't even talked about yet. Like, guys, we'll be fine. Like, sometimes things come up or life happens and you can't prepare the way that you want to and everything, you know? And sometimes you might do poorly on a test, and that's okay. But purposefully, like, making other students nervous and talking about it constantly, and, you know, like, try not to let other people influence how confident you feel about a test. Like, if you know you prepared to the best of your abilities and you know, like, this is a subject that you're good at that other people might not be good at, don't psych yourself out and try not to let other people psych yourself out, because we're all nervous. You know, we all want to get good grades, but if you do get one bad grade, it's not the end of the world.
You really gotta aim high when it comes to stuff like that. Like, for example, the other day I thought I was gonna get an A on my stat exam, but I didn't. But I still got a grade that was good, that I should be proud of. And so when you understand that you can't, like, get everything that you want, then it makes you feel better about maybe not getting what you want. And I know that doesn't sound like a good example, but it is. Trust me.
Yeah.
I think our school, sometimes the kids there also put themselves on too high of a pedestal, and that kind of speaks to what you were saying. Like, not to say don't aim for the stars, because by all means, aim for the stars, because, you know, if you put your mind to it, you can reach them. But a lot of us we're still learning. Like, we're young. There's no need for us to be, if we know, because everybody's not a 4.0 student, and that's the thing. Like, if you know that you're not this, then it's okay when you don't reach that. Like, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. Like, if, like you said, you thought you got an A on your stat exam, you didn't, you got a grade that you were content with. It's fine. Like, it's not the end of the world.
But that just means you got to work harder next time. And I would be lying to say that Western Tech isn't a competitive school. It definitely is. But you have to learn when to stop comparing yourself to other people. You're never going to be the same person that your friends are. You might not get the same grade that they got, but you're strong in other areas, and those are the areas you need to focus on.
Yeah. Do everything to the best of your ability. And your ability, you know, you might not have the same as other people, but you have your strengths, and those are good enough. And don't rely on other people's, you know, grades to make you feel better or feel worse about, you know, what you're earning and what your grades are. You have to do the best that you can. You have to study, in methods that suit you and prepare for tests that in a way that will benefit you.
I will never forget. I was sitting in Miss Schmidt's class in like college algebra or something, and they had announced that SAT scores were posted, and it was like you just saw half of the classroom deflate because of their score, and half of the classroom like became ecstatic. And I'm like, over a standardized test that determines your mood, and it's like I understand because obviously you want to do your best, but the half of the class that was deflated, it's like, first of all, half of your scores aren't even that bad. Like, I promise you, there's someone who did
somebody
worse. Somebody's right. Somebody is looking really low, wishing they got that. And it's just like, it was crazy because you can't let, especially standardized tests. Like, I could talk about that all day, but you can't let any type of exam or quiz or something like that just kill your mood. It's like, it's draining, and it should never be like that.
Yeah.
And never let standardized testing determine how smart you think you are. Like honestly, I've never been a good test taker, regardless of what the test was. We were just not on the same page. But like, I know that I'm strong in other areas. I know that my grades are strong. I know that my extracurriculars are strong. Just because you're not strong in standardized testing does not mean you're not a smart individual.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a popular opinion. We should all be able to attest to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The person says, the way the school system is right now, you never really learn. It's just remembering. I agree with that. I think redundancy is huge right now.
I think it's half and half. I think because there's so many like back-to-back tests and quizzes and things for a lot of students that it can seem like you only have time to memorize and that you only have time to, cram for the moment. But you're preparing for the end of the year. You're going to use that information the rest of the year.
I think a lot of students think that testing back-to-back is not beneficial, like, at all, because, like, teachers always tell us, don't cram, like, don't force yourself to do it the night before, but it's kind of hard not to when you have something this day, then the next day, then the next day, the next day. So it kind of, I feel like it backhandedly encourages you to cram, and then it'll turn around, like the teacher will turn around and say, you shouldn't have crammed. But sometimes you don't have a choice, especially I know kids, like underclassmen, a lot of us, we only have, 2 to 4 classes. Yeah. Underclassmen, they're taking 8. Like, so I think teachers forget that, like, you're not the only teacher a student has. They have a lot of stuff to do. So sometimes testing back to back, it's not killing the student, but it's crippling their grade, and they don't even know it.
This is not to bash teachers at all, because we know teachers have a heavy load.
Yeah. And we understand that, there's standards that need to be, met, and tests that need to be taken that are given from the state or county or whatever. But, like,
one thing that I will say about test taking is that sometimes you may need to sacrifice a test from one class for another. That is that's a simple fact of school.
Yeah.
And that's a fact of life, honestly. Like, if you know that you're not as good at something, you can maybe use more time to study. Or if you know you're stronger at something, you can put more effort to get a greater grade. I guess it's your choice. But one thing to take away is noting what you're good at when studying. There are so many different study methods. Like, Nia and I do not study the same. I can say that for sure.
Yeah, we don't. You really got to prioritize. That's very important. And after trial and error, like Janiah was saying about learning how to study, you really do have to find what's best for you. So
another unpopular opinion is that taking all AP classes does not make someone smart.
It's true. Yeah, that's
definitely.
a fact. We don't be fooled.
And also, don't try to overdo it and take too many AP classes just to look cool or to look better if you know that you cannot handle that.
I did not take that A-push test. But if you feel like you need to, you can. But I didn't take it, and I feel great about it.
Yeah. And I took it, and I feel good. It's very personal.
And she did well.
Yeah.
I would have done horribly.
Yeah. You have to be honest with yourself. You got to know who you are. Like for AP Lit, for example, a lot of people talk about how it's a difficult class, or it's one of those APs you can take senior year that people might not want to take because they think it's too difficult.
Too strict.
Or too strict, exactly. But you really do, when picking AP classes, because they are such a time commitment and require so much effort. You really do have to think about what your strengths are and be honest with yourself about if you really want to take that class. Like AP Lit, I love AP Lit, and Janiah also, Janiah also loves AP Lit because we love reading, we love writing, we love analysis, we love literature. So we knew that was a class that we would be good at because those are our strengths. We are very good in English. But if you know you're a more science-based person and you don't enjoy reading, you don't enjoy books, don't just take AP Lit just to have another AP class on your schedule. And then you'll get burnt out and exhausted and upset with yourself because your senior year, you're not having fun and you're also not doing something you enjoy. But if you know you're a science person and you really love biology, you love experiments and you love diagrams, all that type of stuff, then take AP Bio. You know, it's very personal. Don't just take an AP class just to take it. You have to make a good decision for yourself because you're not going to feel smart in it if you're doing poorly. If you're doing poorly because you know you dislike the subject.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to the other side of that because I was one of those students at the end of my junior year. I was convinced that I was going to take AP Lit because it was just another AP to add to my course load. Like my senior year was looking very chill and I just thought I needed to add that class. But over the summer, I thought to myself, I don't enjoy reading. I'm not an avid reader and I know that about myself. I really don't enjoy, like, I don't write for fun. I write when I have to. So taking a class that is reading and writing based was it wasn't logical. And I wasn't thinking like that at the time. So when I changed my mindset and I dropped the class, it was like a weight off my shoulders. If you know you're not a fan of the skills that class requires, don't take it. It's not going to make or break you. I am having a wonderful senior year without AP Lit. And I'm very glad because, like you guys said, you love to read, you love to write, so you're enjoying the class. I would have been like pulling hair out. So yeah, don't stress yourself out, y'all. Promise.
And with the taking all AP classes about making someone smart, like you don't always think of intelligence like scholastically or academically.
For sure.
You have to think of your emotionally intelligent. It's not a good choice to take 6 APs in classes you don't enjoy in your senior year. Mm-hmm. You have to be smart about what you can actually handle. So that's another aspect, of being smart. Like you are not smart if you're stressing yourself out, cramming to do all of these assignments for these AP classes that you hate. Yeah. That's not smart.
I will say, I took 2 AP classes junior year that I think really boosted my GPA. I took A Push and then I took AP Lang? Yeah, and I did well in the classes, but I didn't take any APs this year because I was very adamant about my schedule being a half day. But I also think that my choice to take the CCBC class instead benefited me, to the same extent that an AP class did. So maybe AP classes aren't for you, but I also think that you can try classes of the same skill level somewhere else that is maybe more tailored to how you can do it. So like my CCBC 102 class was online, and I found that worked better for me and my schedule and how I learn as opposed to taking the class in school.
Forcing yourself. I think that when you made that decision to take the class virtually,
Mm-hmm.
you could be on your own time. It's just easier instead of forcing yourself to take it in school. And that, people who at our school who are racking up on these AP classes, they don't understand how much that is taking a toll on their body. Forcing yourself, sacrificing sleep, forcing yourself to study when you know it's something greater you should be doing. Maybe you have a job, but you're oh, I have this test tomorrow, I'm gonna just go into work late. That's not okay. And I think a lot of people at our school think like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
I think that also speaks to the other opportunities you have senior year, and I think you should really take advantage of those, internship programs, working, getting this outside experience. Mm-hmm. 1, that you can put on your college applications and resume, and 2, just for self-growth in general. Taking advantage of these internship opportunities, of these work opportunities are really great. In addition to schoolwork and a course load, I think you should really balance how much, schoolwork you do and the classes that you take and a social life. Because we do have to honestly say, having a social life senior year, it is important. So it is important to, have fun, live it up your senior year, responsibly, of course. And also, so choosing your course load senior year and picking your classes with that in mind. I'm in an internship right now, and I really enjoy my internship, and it's also based on what I want to do when I'm older. And I'm really glad that I only took, what am I taking, 3 classes? 3 classes at school and 1 at CCBC, and I'm very glad that I did that, so I do have time for other things in my life that are important to me. So I think you really do have to prioritize what is important to you. Is it important to rack up all these AP classes, get this QPA, or is it important to get this world experience, work experience, venturing into the field that you want to pursue later in life? Figure out what's important to you and then really hone in on that.
I also think that it's like what she said, very important to know what's best for you. Like I took, like I said, the 2 AP classes last year, but my honors classes last year, I feel like I did much better, studying wise, material wise, learning. I think the classes were more tailored to the way that I learn, and the material was just easier for me to adapt to. So I think that, just knowing what your strengths are. Like I liked my AP classes, but they low-key kind of killed me last year, not even gonna lie. But I definitely had more fun, and I felt like I learned much more in my honors classes because they were fit for the way that I learn and the way that I experienced school. Like my physics class last year, I thought I was gonna hate it. Not even gonna lie. But honors physics with Dr. Mercer, I love that class. Like even though I might have been fighting for my life a couple of times.
Always.
But like I felt like physics was very applicable to the other classes that I was in. Like my math class was very similar to my physics class, and the things that I learned in physics I was able to apply to my math class, and it was very helpful, like to the point where I feel like I could teach other students physics. But you like, you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, I definitely agree.
So understanding what works for you, because I promise you I can't teach you anything A-push related at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's also what you like. Like I feel like I'm pretty successful in AP classes not AP classes, AP classes, because I enjoy doing the work. Like I enjoy taking the notes. I enjoy doing the study. So like,
she gonna note you to death.
I'm gonna study for 7 hours today.
No, but like, yeah, I love a good note. Give me my G7. Like I get a good pen. Yeah, I don't know. I love me some notes. So
and that's okay. That is okay because that works for her.
Exactly. You really have to be self-aware.
I think it's really dope that you guys are able to like reach this level of excellence in your AP classes, and you guys are both athletes, right?
Yeah.
That just speaks to how like it's so much value in being able to balance more than one thing, especially at a school like Western Tech, because as everybody knows, our school is so academically competitive.
Imani, it's actually really funny you say that, because another unpopular opinion is that athletics are just as important as school.
And I have a lot to say about that because
You're the poster child.
I am. If you
Very
don't
much
Sport
so.
All-American.
not too much, but I am one of those student athletes. I play a sport every season at Western Tech, and I've also been able to like maintain pretty good grades. And I think sometimes us student athletes, we don't get the accolades we deserve. Not to say we're not getting the attention that we deserve, but I think sometimes it's equally as important to acknowledge a kid's athletic ability than it is to acknowledge their score on the AP exam. Not everyone is built like Albert Einstein, and that is not a bad thing. Like some people are built like Jordan, and that's okay. If y'all get the reference?
Which one, Michael?
And I think Western Tech is a perfect school to say that some people have a little bit of both. Like me, myself, I'm an Einstein-Jordan.
Ain't that a word?
Okay. Enough. I think it's definitely important to highlight athletics. Like a lot of people love to say like Western Tech is strictly academics and like we don't have good sports. The reality is we have a very good selection of student athletes who are just as good at sports as they are academics. So I think it's very important as a school that you highlight that.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Our overarching point, know what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Play to your strengths.
Play to your strengths.
Like Aliciana was saying, she found her groove in other extracurriculars, whether it's clubs or her internship. like that just speaks to choosing what's right for you. And so
When we get back into academics, let's say math, for example, another one of these unpopular opinions was that calculus is better than statistics.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. We have 2 calc and stat girls, and then we have 2 college algebra girls. Yeah. Everyone is going to be on a different track when it comes to math. And I don't know if y'all have ever seen Western Tech's math track of like where you can go, but it's very diverse. You can choose different roads. Now, I think stat is better than calc, but we're not going to get into the logistics of it and everything. We're just going to talk about how it's important to choose what's better for you. I personally don't think calc would have done me any good on getting good grades this year, which is why I chose stat. I also knew that I liked Mr. Jett as a teacher because I had him for geometry and I had him for SAT prep. So I knew that I would like him as a teacher for stat. I also knew that calc was not my strong point. Like, an example I use often is that I got a 1 out of 8 on a quiz, and the grade never went up, even on the redo.
I did not choose that because when we had an AP day last year, and I think one thing that Mr. Jett said was that if you don't like to read, don't take his stat class. And I took that and I ran with it because, like I told you guys before, I'm not an avid reader. I read when I have to. I read when I'm forced to. So I knew that calculus was probably the better option for me because if I would have forced myself to take stat just to have that AP on my schedule, it would have not only tanked my QPA, but I would be like, I would not enjoy myself. And I love my calc class. Like, I have Mr. Carlino, and I have to say he's probably my favorite teacher in 4 years, in the 4 years that I've been at Western Tech. So I'm really glad that I took his class. But that's just to say, like, there's different types of pathways that you can take. Like, Janiah loves her stat class. I love my calc class. I'm sure you guys are doing well in college algebra.
Well, I'm content with my choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I didn't try to go above and beyond my own abilities because I'm not the best at math. I don't enjoy math. I just don't have a math brain. It's just, I don't know, it's never been my thing. So I could have chosen to, take a leap of faith and take calc or something. They probably would have let me if I tested into it, But I chose not to. And I took a class that I knew I would be successful in. I knew that would give me the skills that I needed to be successful in college math. And I feel good about my choice. I don't feel, I don't have any regrets at all. I'm very content with the math track that I'm on because, you have to, you're not going to be good at everything. So, yeah, I'm fine with my choice.
Like Nia said, I've never really been a math person. I've always been in lower math classes my entire school career. My strong suits were elsewhere. But last year with Miss Bauer was actually the first time that I got an A in math for 3 out of 4 quarters. Thank you. And I knew that algebra was a better fit for me personally. I knew that she was a better teacher for me as well and was able to adapt to my learning style, which made it easier for me to grasp the concepts of math. And I think I just felt better playing it safe and staying in that realm rather than taking it and then shooting too high and then trying to do too much to maintain a good grade in the class this year. So like Nia said, I just kind of stuck to what felt comfortable for me.
Yeah. And I also want to say, choosing your math class, especially senior year, it's important because depending on what track you want to go on when you're in college, you're going to need a certain math. And so I had thought about that when I was choosing because it was a tough decision for me to choose between calc and stat. And so I did some research and I figured out what I want to do. I need both. So I just chose what I thought would be better this year. Now, I don't know what you need, Imani, but I know a lot of people that are taking calc right now, they need calc for what they want to study.
I think saying that math after Algebra 2 is pointless forces you into a mindset that after Algebra 2, math doesn't matter. And that's not necessarily true because, well, I think it depends on case to case because like Janiah said in her case, with the field that she wants to go in, she needs well higher than Algebra 2 math classes. Like stat and calc is 2 or 3 math classes after Algebra 2. So in your case, this would be very unpopular because it doesn't work out for you. in my case, it wouldn't work out for me either. And I think if you are a type of person who knows what you want to do when you said this, then, you know, kudos to you. But it's not universal at all. It's definitely a person-to-person basis.
Somebody said that studying doesn't help you learn. It's just to trick your mind into thinking that you are ready for anything that you study for.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
In a case like of a math class, I definitely disagree, because something that Mr. Carlino taught me, something that I didn't learn thoroughly until this year as a senior, like when you practice something, the same skill over and over again, and then you see that skill in a different setting, whether it's a quiz or a standardized test, it's really hard to mess that skill up after having so much practice. So I'll have to disagree with that unpopular opinion.
And you also, I think you should research or talk to other people about their study methods, because one thing for math, like I'm not a person who can just practice problems and just be okay. Like I have to, well, I don't do this as much this year, but last year in trig, because it was more challenging for me, I had to make out a study sheet like before each exam of everything we covered in that unit. And I wrote down all the formulas I needed, all of the concepts I needed to remember. I did that in blue pen. And then I went and did practice problems after that. But I needed to get that initial, sheet of everything that I needed to know and review that in order to feel comfortable before taking the test. But some people, they don't need to go back over the concepts as much as other people do. So you really do need to figure out what works for you. And also prioritize classes. So if you know you're good in English, you don't have to really study for English, if it's just talking. If you have a discussion next class, you don't really have to study for that. So, just focus on what you need to prepare for. Or if you know you're not good in discussions and you need to have these viewpoints listed out before you go into this graded discussion for class, then do that. But if you know you don't need to practice math, then don't.
And in contrast to that, I'm actually the type of person, like, I can't do Cornell notes. I can't do, like, actual, like, conventional ways of studying. Like, my studying is a practice problem. Yeah. And if I don't know how to do it, then I'm just not going to know how to do it. But that's actually a weakness, because you should try to figure out how to do it. And I'm working on that. But, like, overall, I think that just, for me, doing it and figuring it out on the way is, like, my definition of studying.
Studying starts in the classroom. Like if you're not an effective
wow.
if you know you're not an effective note taker, and then you have something to study for and you're wondering why your study habits are not working, you need to look back at what you did in the classroom to benefit your at-home studying. Because what you taking notes at Western Tech, I promise you it is essential. If you go through Western Tech taking no notes and you think you're going to come out of the other end, in this bright light and this great student, you're gravely mistaken. Yeah. We're all seniors. We can all attest to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Studying starts in the classroom. Effective note taking is something that is a skill also, so it has to be learned. But you take those early years and those classes that you're a little bit stronger in, that you don't need as much cushion, you take those classes to practice your note taking, and then those classes that you need that cushion and you're harder in, you apply that note taking practice and you go and take great notes in those classes, so that when you get home and you need to study, you have something to lean on.
Definitely understand though that studying is pointless if you don't understand the material. If you don't know what you're doing when you're studying, it's not going to make any sense. So make sure you're prioritizing understanding and learning the material. And if you don't understand it, go to coach class. Yeah. Ask for help.
Yes.
Ask for help.
Self-advocacy.
Or what's the warm-ups? Do the warm-ups.
Do them drills.
Girl, them apexes.
Me and them drills. Them SAT drills. We like this.
Oh, yeah. And the drill, it really does show you what you know and what you don't know. Like physics, again. That was my most difficult class I've ever taken at Western Tech. Yeah. So the drills really helped though, because on the days that I didn't do the drill, I was a mess. Because a lot of the stuff that you do in class, it's like review from the drill, or you'll go over the things that you don't know. You'll you'll acknowledge them. The teacher can talk about them, but the teachers can't help you with what they don't know that you don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to make an effort to talk to your teachers, to go to the coach classes if they're available, in order to be successful. So do the drill. It's very helpful.
If you ever didn't study, did you worry about the test?
Did I worry about the test? Yeah. I mean, but if I didn't study, did I worry about a test? Like, I mean, yeah, to be honest, sometimes I just had to accept my failure. I knew I was tired, so I went to sleep.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
and then I did poorly, but I knew I was going to do poorly, so it is what it is.
It's a part of knowing your fault. And I can say, like, freshman year, I used to be up, light on, family asleep.
Real bad.
I would get a midnight snack. I would be studying so hard. And things have changed because, like, it was COVID and stuff like that. And I finally understood how to prioritize certain needs. But, like, and I'm not saying it's not important to take time to study and stuff like that, because it is. You know what I'm saying? But it's also important to allocate that time effectively. Because literally studying at 2 a.m. all the way up until like 3 a.m. and then falling asleep for an hour and a half and getting ready to get on the bus, it's never going to do it. Never. I'm pretty sure it's like scientifically proven that a lot of the information that you gather in that time period isn't even applicable because you don't actually absorb it. Yeah, you don't remember it.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, just remember to have fun with high school. Don't let it break you or ruin your life. You do not have to bend over backwards to make things more than what they are.
Yeah, just remember to do your best, guys. And that's your best is all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Your best is not going to be somebody else's best. Somebody else's best is not your best.
A word.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Don't remember not to compare yourself to other people, and don't always succumb to the mindset of the others around you.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to be Nia, so.
I'm not Nia.
But like, look though, because there's so many different people at this table. Like, you got Aliciana, who's NHS president. Imani is the vice president of our senior class.
Student government.
The school.
Student government of the whole.
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
I'm not no Imani.
It's the best that like anything English related. That's your girl.
Real.
You know what I'm saying? So like, there's so many different people at this table, and then just think about it across the whole school.
And Janiah.
Yeah. If you need a good book rec, you know who to go to.
Yeah. Janiah's one of those people who are good at many things. Like, you know, get her on the math tip, get her on English. She'll be good.
I'll let her finish.
On the environmental tech tip.
Environmental tech tip, you need to learn how to recycle. Shoot.
You want to know what type of tree that
Gotta
is?
split
Ask her.
glass, plastic. She'll, yeah.
So yes, exploit your friends.
Yes.
Dear God.
Yeah, so, you know, look for the next episode.
We're glad you guys tuned in with us.
Yeah, that was fun.
Make sure to tell us what you want to hear on upcoming episodes so that we can keep catering to the audience.
Next time we post a Google form, click that.
Thanks. Please and thanks.
Tech, yeah.
Tech, yeah.